Hello there, I'm Jimmy Vegas, and in this mini tutorial I'm going to show you how you can quickly and effectively create a mini-map in any game in Unity 5. So to do this, what we first need to do is we have our player right here in this little scene. It's nothing too fancy, it's just a quick terrain with some trees and a little bit of texturing. So if you have a third person or first person, it makes no difference, the exact same principle will apply. So on your player you need to right click and create a camera. I'm not going to rename the camera, but I am going to drag it upwards and make it face downwards. Now, generally, you can probably do this by rotating 90 degrees on the X. If not, just make sure in the camera preview it is looking down onto your player. So next thing we need to do is we need to create something called a render texture. So right click, create, and go on render texture. I'm going to call this mini map, nothing special. There are a couple of settings here which I don't really need to go into at the moment because this is only a simple way of doing it. It's quick. You can play around if you need to. I'll touch on this again at the end of the tutorial just to give you a little heads up on a couple of things. So what we need to do is on your camera now, we need to go here where it says target texture and drag and drop that mini-map texture onto there. Nothing will change here just yet because we haven't got our UI in place. So we need it to be a bit like this with the camera preview where we can see where we are on the map. Now, as you know, the camera preview won't work in the game scene, so we have to kind of replicate it. And I'm going to have it over here in the left corner. So to do that, game object, UI, and I'm going to select raw image. I'm going to get my screen into position because I want it to be over here. So let's drag it over here. Increase the size. Let's say I want width of 150, height of, in fact no, we'll have width as 200 and we'll have the height as 150. Let's drag it into position. Let's have it about there, and let's use the anchor point to anchor it to the bottom left. Next I'm going to duplicate that and I'm going to drag that onto the image we've just created. So it's got the canvas, child of raw image, and then a child of raw image again. I'm going to lock it center so we can see there, and let's have the width as 190, height as 140. So this original raw image will act as like kind of the outside of the minimap area itself. You'll see us in just a second. So we just need to drag and drop onto the texture here, that minimap texture yet again. So you can see it appears right there. So what's happening here is the camera is looking down into the game world and it is portraying whatever it sees into this minimap texture. And then this minimap texture is then being displayed onto this UI image. Nice and simple. So with a first person controller, what you won't see, especially in Unity 5, is the actual physical representation of the character in the minimap. With a third-person controller, you obviously will, but it's up to you how you want to tackle that. For now, I'm going to put like let's have a blue blip in the middle of the screen to represent where our player is. So on this raw image, right-click, UI, and let's do it via a panel. Let's change the source image to a knob so it's round. Let's take off any alpha and change it to blue. Let's shrink the size as well after we've anchored it dead center. Let's have it as 10 by 10. So now when we press play, we should see our minimap reflects where we are in the scene. So you can see that working just fine. Looks great. Okay, so the minimap itself, let's say, I don't know, for example, you want to change the color format. Let's say you're doing maybe a horror game. You could play around with the settings and perhaps change it to R8, in which case you would see it gives a bit more of a horror feel to it. So you can always play around with these settings and have them exactly how you want. Or for a simple basic minimap, just keep it as the standard ones, to be honest, because they work just fine. So guys, that's how you can put a minimap in any game in Unity 5. Guys, thank you for watching.